Okay, in this video we're continuing on. We have, in the first video we went through and built a workstation for Windows 7 installing SharePoint. And we did that. Remember, we used the SQL 12 Express for the installation. And we did that because, in my experience, building a development workstation on Windows 7 when you already have SQL installed will cause you errors. Now, since we started, I already went through and I installed SQL, but I'm going to go through and do it again. So I'm going to open the installation media, and remember, I pause off and on during these installations because they are quite long, and I'm trying to get all these videos, to be done in less time than it takes you to read War and Peace. So here we go. I've got SQL 2012 Developer Edition, which is really enterprise, doesn't matter. And I'm going to run setup exec, and I'm going to build. Yep, I'm going to run setup exec, and I am logged on as administrator. Okay, now I'm going to go straight to installation. And I'm going to go new SQL Server installation. And while that starts, I'll pause. Okay, the setup support rules ran, blah, blah, blah. Of course, if you had an error, you got to go through and fix that. Okay, the support rules all passed. And as you see, Windows Firewall, I'm not concerned about that. This is just a workstation demo. I'm going to go through it next, and I'm going to perform a new installation of SQL. And you should see I've already got these installed down here. Here's my Express. And I installed SQL, and then I also installed SQL Tabular, but that one's no big deal. I'm going to perform a new installation. I'm going to select Next. And I already have a key. I should blank that key out, which I will do in a second, which I'm going to add a marker down there so I can remember to come in and blank that out. And I'll go Next. And I accept the licensing terms, blah, blah, blah. Next. And SQL Server feature installation, that's correct. Next. Now I'm going to select pull one down here, give it a second. Okay, I'm going to select all, but you'll notice I've already got a number of these things installed here because this is my multiple installation. What you really need to make sure you get is this reporting services. Do a screen draw up in here. So this reporting services and the add-in down there. Let me see if I can. Okay, so you'll just go select all, which I'm going to do. Select all, and I've got all this. Now, I don't need some of this stuff that drives me insane. I don't need replications, so I'm going to dump that on out. I don't need data quality services. I don't need full text search on this thing. And I just don't want to burn. I don't need distributed replay or distributed replay client or the SDK, blah, 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 blah. Okay, next I'm going to come on through, and it's going to run and get another check. Okay, the installation rules went on through. I'll go Next. And I'll give it a new named instance ID. Okay, I called it SQL 12 D2 for Demo 2. And I'll go Next. Disk space requirement, I'll just go Next. On the service accounts, I'm going to accept all the defaults. Remember, this is just a development workstation. I'm not trying to show you best practices in here for security. That's a whole nother course. Okay, for database engine configuration, this is very important. Let's see, how can I, just a second. Okay, you're going to go, if I can get this working, just a second. Trying to be clever there and to use screen draw. You're going to go mixed mode. You're going to go mixed mode. Cool. And now it's just going to install the SA account. You're going to enter the password. Whatever you want to do. I'm not going to insult you by saying make sure you remember it. Make sure you remember it. Add current user. For SQL Server Administrator, being cool, and then you're going to go Next. Now, once again, you're going to go mixed mode. By the way, on this file stream, you can go ahead and enable it if you want. On the file stream, it's no longer, when you install the analysis services, it's not the hassle that it used to be. So we've got that. We'll go Next. And I'm going to go multi-dimensional model, and I'm going to add the current user, which is I'm logged on as student as admin. Next. Install and configure, blah, blah, blah. Please don't believe that it's going to completely configure this thing, right? So reporting services native mode, that's fine. I don't care. That's so you can use this. But reporting services integrated mode, you see this is blanked because those shared components are already installed. So we'll go next. Yeah, you can do that if you want. I don't care. Next. All right, it passed. Next. And now we'll say install, and I'll pause. Okay, on success, we'll just click close. And let's start management services just to make sure. Server 2012, SQL Server Management Studio, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'll connect into my D2 account. And if I expand security and expand logins down here, there's my SA. Okay, now we'll continue through and get SharePoint to work with Reporting Services 2012. Now here's a very handy URL off of TechNet and Microsoft. You just search for blah, blah, blah. But starting, yeah, you see this, the text up here. Just search for that and pull this page on up. It's very handy. Some of it may not apply, but as you can run on through, this they're going to show you how to install reporting services in SharePoint mode. And you've already got that done if you followed along with what I did. Again, you see those reporting services down here, and you do the installation. All right, now over here from this point on forward actually applies. So we're going to do basically what they say within this little URL. We're going to go in and open the SharePoint management shell. Okay, so I'm going to start all programs, SharePoint products. There's my management shell. I'm going to right click that, run as administrator, even though and wait for it to come up. Okay, PowerShell is running. You see the PS, PowerShell, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm going to copy this install -SPR service. I'll just copy it off this URL, allow access, and go back over to my command prompt. And I'm going to paste it in. I'll right click and paste, and I'll execute by pressing the enter key. All right, in PowerShell you don't get any of this it worked baloney. You just get a return. Let's go back over now and we'll start the proxy. Copy. Switch back to PowerShell. See the fancy wancy little icon down here? Woohoo! And I'll right click that and I'll paste, and I'll execute again, and that worked. Now if you come down and read it, you can run this and see that if everything works. But life is easier if you do this with Central Administration. We're going to drop down here and start Central Admin. And I'll pause while that comes. Okay, Central Administration came up, and now let's find Manage Services. It's over in System Setting, I think. And Manage Services on the server. And as we drill on down here, oh, there it is. SQL Server Reporting Services is started. Cool, so we've got that. Okay, now I'm going to go through, and once again, I'm back to that URL I told you to search for, and I'm going to follow the step-by-step creating a reporting services application. In Central Admin, I'm going to go to the Application Management Group and Manage Service Application. Manage Service Applications. Okay, I'm going to click New here, and I'm going to go Reporting Services Administration. Service Application, forgive me. Give it a new name. SSRS2. Sounds fine. And I can use an existing pool, or you should create a new pool down here. So let's go ahead and do that. Control copy, and you should name the pool the same as you named your unique for management. Now I've already got a managed account. You may not. If you do not have a managed account, you're going to click register new managed account, and you're going to give in the service user credentials and the password, right? Which I've already got that, so I don't need that. Now you see there, that'll teach me. Now I got to go back in and do that again. SSRS2 and control home, control copy, move it down here, control V. Okay, now you see the database, I do not want this SharePoint. That is the default install because we installed with Express so we could get this to install on a workstation, but that's not what we want to use. All right, what you want to use is this database that you created. SQL 12D2 is what I named the instance. Let's go back over. Oops, here we go. And let's plug that in. SQL 12D2. All right. Now the name of this reporting services database, that's just a GUID down there, and I don't care if you change that or not. Now this, well, you know, if you'd like to, that's fine. Now you're going to go in here though with stored credentials. Close that little irritating pop-up, right? And you're going to log in as SA. It's SA does not need a domain. And the password that you used, P. Cool. Oh, okay. This is good. Yeah, I'm already associated down here, so these are associated because it's off of the root, and that's okay. Now, when you're coming through, whatever site is shown down in here, you're going to be able to go through and check this because I've already set up another site. So you'll go through and pick a site that you have set up down here for the web application, and now when we say OK, we'll see if we screwed anything up. Normally, if it didn't error by now, it's not going to error. Now you go into the green spiral of death, in which case I will pause. Okay, so when you're finished, you should get the SQL Server Reporting Services application worked, and we'll say OK. And again, if you come down here, you see there's the SSRS2, and here's SSRS, my proxies that I have up and running. Okay, then what you're going to want to do is switch over, and let's open a site. I created a second site. And for BI, demo BI site, and you're going to want to go into site actions. This is all described in that URL. You'll go into site actions, site settings, and in site collection administration, you're going to come down here and find features somewhere. There we are, site collection features. And then you're going to want to drill on down here. Okay, reporting services integration report is active down here. Don't let this reporting confuse you. That's just on reporting in SharePoint. This is what you want: is the integration services is active. I can't resist looking. Okay, now watch this. I'm going to go back over to demo BI site and let's create site actions, site settings. We're going to create a new site library. No. Site actions, more options. We'll create a document library, and I'm going to name it reports demo. That sounds fine. And that's good. We're just going to say create. We're going to modify it here in a second. And once it's up and running, we'll go into library settings. And you're going to go into advanced settings. Allow management of content types, and you'll say OK. Now down here on this add from existing site content types, pull down your selection arrow, and we're going to go SQL Server Reporting Services content type, and we'll add them all, though I hate the model. But anyway, we'll add them all in there. And you'd think I would have selected them all at once, wouldn't you? So we've got all those in there. We're going to say OK. All right, now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to change the new button order. I don't want documents, so I'll clear it. All right, and I want report builder report first, report builder data source second, and then I'll leave report builder model in there, even though I don't like it. And I'll say OK. Cool. Now let's go back over to the report demo library. Let it come up. We'll go into Documents, New Document. I'll pull down the chevron, little down arrow here, and I'll go for Report Builder Report. All right, now I've already run this, so this is a one-click application. The first time you run it, you're going to get a little pop-up that says, can I run? You know, it's launching application, and you'll say yes, and it'll take longer, but oops, let's get that running. Oh, fudge. All right, here we go. Do you want to run this application? I'm going to say run. Downloading Report Builder, and I'll let that run. Let me pause. Okay, and it'll start. Report Builder 3.0, which is backwardly compatible to 2008 R2, but not to 2008. Okay, and you get the little pop-up, and what we're going to do down here, let's go in and create a blank report. And I don't care, so I'm just going to see this current report server is HTTP student 1766. If you can see this down here like this, let me show you this. Let me hit the bloppy button, the office button, and look at options. And use this report server by default. And there's nothing tied in there, but well, that should be set up in there as report server student PC 1766, which I can type in up here, and then it would use that as a default. This is connected in because I launched it off of that site. Let me cancel. I kind of screwed that up, didn't I? And let's just click run. This will just test that it can actually hit it. All right, so it can hit the report server down here. Now let's come in and see if we can do something. Okay, what I did while I exited on out, I created a data source. I just wanted to go in and set up a data source, and I'm tied into SQL SharePoint Express. And then I just grabbed the data set. I'm tied into Performance Point, and then I just I'll drag one and dropped it on over here like this and ran just to make sure that the report builder runs and I don't get that error, that very irritating error. So you see I'm student connected, and here's my version and the student PC, etc. So now we know that it works. Do you want to save it? No, I do not. So now you have your SharePoint BI site tied into, and you have a separate document library demo down here that you can save your reports in. And then we also have our dashboards up in here, which is part of Performance Point, and I'm out of time.